Hey, Mama, sit down for a second. I mean it. Grab your coffee or your Diet Coke, close that never-ending to-do list, and take a breath. Welcome to Mama Sit Down, the podcast that helps you reclaim your life one boundary at a time. I'm your host, Roxanne, and around here, we talk about what it really means to stop overgiving, start healing, and finally make space for you. Because let's be honest, you've spent years taking care of everyone else. Now it's your turn. So whether you're learning to say no without guilt or figuring out who you are beyond mom, you're in the right place. All right, Mama, enough small talk. Let's dive in. Hey there, Mama. Welcome back to Mama Sit Down, the podcast where moms of adult children reclaim their lives one boundary at a time. Now, I know what you're thinking. Reclaim my life? Roxanne, I'm just trying to reclaim my sanity. Well, you're in good company, friend, because today we're talking about something that sneaks up on so many of us, that constant need to help, to fix, to make sure our adult children are okay, even if it means we're not. This episode is called When Helping Becomes Hurting, the Hidden Cost of Over-Responsibility. And before you start thinking, she's not talking about me, let me just tell you a little story. You know how little kids get mad? They'll pack a bag and say they're running away, but only make it as far as the backyard? Well, I did that, except I wasn't 6, I was 60. And I made it all the way to a hotel. I didn't even pack a bag. I snuck out like a fugitive in the night. No suitcase, no plan, not even a toothbrush. I just grabbed my keys and left. Don't worry though, I did buy necessities the next day. Turns out self-discovery is a lot easier with toothpaste. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't planning, fixing, or worrying about my adult children. And you know what? I finally found some peace. My family, on the other hand, they were completely freaked out. They thought I had lost my mind. They were calling each other, preparing an intervention. You'd think I joined a cult. They were saying, should we call someone? Should we go get her? But here's the thing. They thought I was losing my mind. The truth, I was actually finding myself. For the first time in my life, I wasn't taking care of anyone else. I was taking care of me. It feels so wrong, I almost came back just to check on them. But that's when I realized something. I'd spent my whole life believing my worth was in what I did for my children. But maybe, just maybe, it was time to learn who I was without carrying them on my back. You know, none of us just wake up one day and decide, you know what? Sounds fun. I think I'm going to be responsible for my adult kids' happiness for the rest of my life. No, we learned it. For me, I grew up in an unstable environment. There wasn't a lot of peace and there sure wasn't predictability. So I made up my mind early on that when I had a family, I was going to create what I thought was the perfect family, the way a perfect family was supposed to be. I was going to make sure everybody felt loved, supported, and safe. And I did for years. But somewhere along the way, that deep desire to protect and provide turned into something heavier. I wasn't just building a healthy home anymore. I was carrying it on my back. And here's the thing about being a fixer, it works until it doesn't. Because when your kids grow up and you keep trying to be the glue that holds it all together, you'll eventually realize you've glued yourself right into chaos. You know what I mean? You're stuck trying to manage adults who don't actually want to be managed. We learned to do this out of love, but we kept doing it out of fear. Fear that if we stop fixing, everything will fall apart. Fear that if we stop helping, they'll think we don't care. Fear that if we stop being mom the problem solver, we'll lose our place in their lives. But here's the truth, Mama. Your adult children don't need you to be their manager. They need you to be their mother. And that's a very different job description. Let's talk about what this really costs us, because over-responsibility might sound like love. Sometimes it's actually fear wearing a loving disguise. It costs us our peace. We can't rest unless they're okay. But here's the secret. They don't actually grow until we let them not be okay for a while. Next, it costs us connection. When we jump in to fix it, it can send the message that I don't trust you to handle this. And no adult wants to feel like they're being parented. Also, it costs us ourselves. If I asked you, who are you outside of being a mom? Would you have an answer? For the longest time, I would have said, I'm the emergency contact. But friend, that's not who you are. That's a role. That's not your identity. Now let's take it back to what God says. Galatians 6:5 tells us each one should carry their own load. God didn't call us to carry our grown children's loads and ours too. He called us to love, guide, and then release. Even the prodigal son's mama had to let him walk his own road before he came home. If she'd kept bailing him out, that story might have ended very differently. Letting go doesn't mean you don't love your kids. It means you trust that God loves them more than you do. All right, Mama, let's get real and let's come up with some practical steps. Number 1, pause. Practice the pause. Pause before you rescue. When your adult child calls with a crisis, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this mine to fix or theirs to figure out? If it's theirs, pray, then let God handle the coaching. Number 2, replace guilt with gratitude. When you feel guilty for stepping back, thank God that your child has the chance to learn resilience. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Number 3, for this week, reclaim your joy. Do something that's just for you, not because it's productive, not because it helps anyone, but because it feels you. I mean, even if it's just sitting in your car listening to 80s music and eating fries, that counts as healing, right? You know what's funny? After my little runaway, I came home expecting fireworks, guilt, tears, drama. Instead, one of my daughters looked at me and said, Mom, I'm glad you did that. You needed it. And that's when I realized the people who love us most don't actually want us to burn out for them. They just want us to be okay. So maybe, Mama, it's time to pack your metaphorical bag, not to run away, but to run back to yourself, the woman God created you to be before motherhood became the whole story. You don't have to earn rest. You just have to allow it. Thanks for sitting down with me today. Mama, if this episode made you laugh, cry, or maybe realize you've been doing a little too much helping, share it with another mom who's learning to let her adult kids grow and herself breathe. And if you ever feel like running away, maybe just start with a coffee shop instead of a hotel. Hotels get expensive. Until next time, breathe, rest, and remember, it's your time now.